Welcome to Global Greats, where we explore the most influential figures in history. Today, we turn our attention to Attila the Hun, one of history's most feared leaders, whose name became synonymous with terror across 5th century Europe. Attila united the Hunnic tribes, built a vast empire, and challenged the Roman world at its weakest. He was more than a barbarian conqueror, a shrewd political operator, master of psychological warfare, and a leader who inspired absolute loyalty. His campaigns marked a turning point in the decline of Rome and the dawn of a new era in Europe. Join us as we uncover the facts behind the legend of the man known as the Scourge of Europe. The Huns, fierce nomads from the vast Central Asian steppes, arrived in Europe in the late 4th century, bringing with them a way of life shaped by endless horizons and constant movement. Their sudden appearance sent shockwaves through the continent as they swept westward, with astonishing speed and force. As they advanced, the Huns displaced entire tribes, setting off a chain reaction of migrations that pressured Rome's borders and destabilized the region. The Roman Empire, already strained, now faced a new and unpredictable threat from the east. Renowned for their unmatched skills as horsemen and archers, the Huns became legendary as both raiders and mercenaries. Their ability to strike swiftly and vanish into the plains made them nearly impossible to defeat in open battle. Everything changed with the rise of Attila, born into the Hunnic elite around 406 AD. From a young age, Attila was exposed to the art of leadership and the brutal realities of steppe warfare. In 434 AD, Attila and his brother Bleda inherited joint leadership of the Huns. They quickly negotiated a treaty with Rome, forcing the empire to pay tribute in gold and goods. A humiliating concession for the once mighty Romans. The brothers expanded their influence, uniting not only the Hunnic clans but also many subject tribes under their command. This coalition created a formidable force that dominated the steppes and threatened all who opposed them. But tensions simmered beneath the surface. By 445 AD, Bleda was dead, almost certainly at Attila's hand, leaving Attila as the sole and undisputed ruler of the Huns. Now, in absolute control, Attila transformed the Huns into a multi-ethnic empire, commanding a massive army from his court in the Pannonian plains of modern-day Hungary. His authority stretched across vast territories, uniting peoples of many backgrounds under his iron rule. Attila's reign was marked by a mixture of fear, unwavering loyalty, and the ever-present promise of plunder. Warriors flocked to his banner, drawn by the prospect of riches and glory. With Rome weakened by internal strife and external threats, Attila saw an opportunity. He set his sights on the empire's richest and most vulnerable lands, preparing for a campaign that would test the limits of Roman endurance. The stage was set for a conflict that would shake Europe to its core, forever altering the fate of empires and the course of history. Attila's first major campaign targeted the Eastern Roman Empire in 447 AD, using a treaty violation as pretext. The Huns, renowned for their ferocity and speed, swept across the Danube frontier with little warning, catching the Romans off guard and unprepared for the scale of the assault. His armies devastated the Balkans, sacking ancient cities and advancing to the very walls of Constantinople. Towns and villages were left in ruins, their populations scattered or enslaved, as Attila's forces pressed relentlessly forward, leaving a trail of destruction in their wake. Unable to breach the city's formidable defenses, Attila turned his wrath on the countryside. He ravaged the land, burning crops and pillaging settlements, earning the infamous title, Scourge of God, among terrified Romans and chroniclers alike. The Romans, desperate to save their capital and halt the devastation, agreed to triple their annual tribute and pay a massive ransom in gold. This humiliating concession bought them only a temporary peace, as Attila's ambitions continued to grow. Turning his gaze westward, Attila soon found new justification to invade. Honoria, sister of the Western Emperor, secretly sent him her ring, seeking his help to escape a forced marriage. Attila claimed this as a marriage proposal and demanded half the Western Empire as her dowry, using it as a pretext for war. When his demands were rejected, Attila launched a massive invasion of Gaul in 451 AD. He led a vast coalition of Huns and subject peoples across the Rhine, their numbers swelling as they advanced deeper into Roman territory. His army razed cities and spread panic throughout the region, advancing rapidly toward Orléans. The people of Gaul fled in terror, and entire communities were uprooted as the Huns approached. The Western Roman general Aetius, recognizing the dire threat, forged a crucial alliance with the Visigoths under King Theodoric. Together, their combined forces prepared to make a stand against Attila's seemingly unstoppable advance. The fate of Gaul, and perhaps all of Western Europe, hung in the balance as both sides gathered their strength for a decisive confrontation. The two sides finally met on the Catalonian plains, a vast expanse in northeastern France that would soon witness a clash of epic proportions. The stage was set for one of antiquity's most significant and brutal battles, a conflict that would shape the fate of empires and echo through history. In June 451 AD, Attila's forces clashed with the Roman Visigothic alliance on the Catalonian plains. The battle was brutal and chaotic, with both sides suffering heavy losses. Visigothic king Theodoric was killed, but his son Thorismund led a furious counterattack, turning the tide. As night fell, Attila's army retreated to a fortified camp, preparing for a last stand. Roman general Aetius, wary of empowering the Visigoths, allowed Attila to withdraw rather than risk total victory. Though checked, Attila's army remained a threat, his aura of invincibility only slightly diminished. The battle marked the first major setback for Attila, proving that a united front could halt the Huns. But Attila was not finished. The very next year, he would strike at the heart of the Roman Empire itself, Italy. The world braced for his return. The Scourge of God was far from defeated. In 452 AD, Attila invaded Italy, catching the Romans off guard and devastating northern cities like Aquileia, Padua, and Milan. Refugees fled and the emperor retreated to Rome, leaving the north defenseless. As Attila advanced, Rome sent an embassy led by Pope Leo I to negotiate. Accounts say Leo's presence and perhaps a vision of saints persuaded Attila to turn back, but practical reasons played a larger role. Famine, disease, and news of Eastern Roman attacks on Hunnic homelands threatened his position. The promise of tribute from Rome sealed the deal. Attila withdrew, sparing Rome from destruction. His Italian campaign, though devastating, ended not in conquest, but in retreat. The legend of his meeting with Leo would echo for centuries, but Attila's story was nearing its end. In 453 AD, Attila the Hun, feared by empires and revered by his warriors, celebrated his latest marriage with a lavish night of heavy drinking and revelry. The tent was filled with laughter, music, and the clinking of goblets as Attila basked in the glory of his conquests. But as dawn broke, the mood turned to horror. Attila was found dead in his tent, most likely from a massive nosebleed that caused him to choke in his sleep. Some whispered of poison or betrayal, but no evidence was ever found. His sudden and glorious death stunned his followers who had believed their leader to be nearly invincible. Attila was buried in secret, his tomb hidden and lost to history. His warriors mourned him with blood, slashing their faces in grief, and honoring him with ancient funeral rites. Without Attila's fierce leadership, the mighty Hunnic Empire began to unravel almost instantly, its unity shattered. His sons, lacking their father's authority and vision, quarreled bitterly, dividing the empire among themselves and weakening their grip on power. Sensing opportunity, subjugated peoples, especially the Germanic tribes, rose up in rebellion, eager to cast off the Hunnic yoke. In 454 AD, a coalition of these tribes united and crushed the Huns at the Battle of Nidau. Attila's eldest son was killed, and with him, the last hope for Hunnic dominance vanished. The empire Attila had built through fear and force collapsed as quickly as it had risen, leaving only ruins and memories behind. The Huns faded from history, their once mighty power broken forever, their people scattered across the steppes. Attila's reign ended, not with a final conquest, but with the swift and total disintegration of his world, a reminder of how quickly empires can fall. Yet, his legend would endure for centuries, echoing through the chronicles of history as the Scourge of God. Attila's reign was brief but transformative, accelerating Rome's decline and reshaping Europe. He built a vast empire, terrorized the Roman world, and became a symbol of destruction and fear. In Western memory, he remains the ultimate barbarian. In other cultures, a symbol of strength and unity. His mastery of psychological warfare and leadership held his empire together, but only as long as he lived. After his death, the Huns vanished, but the chaos they unleashed paved the way for new kingdoms on Roman soil. Attila's campaigns helped shape the map of medieval Europe. His story is a testament to the power and fragility of empires, and the impact one individual can have on history. Was Attila a catalyst for inevitable change, or a unique force who altered a continent's destiny? His legacy endures, a figure both feared and fascinating, whose shadow still lingers over Europe's past.